All right, here making our rounds on our Fab 15 countdown, and here with J.R. Howell at Zionsville. And I'm going to start with this because your sectional didn't change. Unfortunately for you guys, it's going to be pretty tough again. It's kind of what you're used to playing in that sectional, but you know going in what you have to face. You're going to see a lot of those teams along the way, but just your thoughts on how you guys will approach that and get ready for that sectional. It's so tough every year.
Yeah, I mean it's just like every other year. I mean, we've been in this for the last 4 years since I've been here, and like you said, we see every opponent that's in our sectional, conference games. Carmel first game of the year, so that's the one that we don't see too recent, but it's a dogfight every year. I mean, every year you have 2 or 3 teams in the top 10, top 5. It's a competitive environment. Everybody knows what everybody's going to be doing and who their key players are. So, we're going to treat it just like every other year, right? I mean, we handle what we need to do and control what we can control, and just hopefully we prepare for the right things, and we'll see how that goes.
Had a chance to watch you guys a little bit this morning, and I think people probably know about Maguire, Mitchell, and Drew Snively at this point. As you get into your senior year with those two now, I mean, what are you expecting out of them, and then how comfortable are you kind of putting them out there every night and in big games like you guys play most of the season?
Yeah, I mean, I think they both had breakout years last year, and led us in scoring. The way that they just have a knack for scoring, and they're two of our leaders. The other kids follow. We'll have a lot of guys returning this year. But those two are obviously spearheading everything we do. So, I'm glad they're on our side for that purpose. But our goal is just to get them in situations where they'll be successful and be able to let them play a little bit. And they really did a great job of that last year, and hopefully that momentum from the summer and last season kind of pushed them through to somehow make last season for them better, and hopefully push us into a few more wins.
And probably two guys that are pretty driven. That class is a really good class, and I was a little bit surprised neither one of them made the junior all-star team, if not both of them. I'm sure that's something they wanted too. But when you look at their seasons ahead, are there certain things you're looking for out of Maguire and Drew, and or different things you kind of want them to do maybe they haven't done in the past this year?
Yeah, I think just being more well-rounded. The offensive stuff, they prove they can produce at a high level last season, and one thing we'll stress to them this year is we want to see that well-roundedness on the defensive side of the floor too. They're going to be they're our leaders. All the kids look up to them and kind of go off of what they do, and if those two really step up their game defensively, which they're capable of, that'll just elevate us to a better time and a better season. And I think they both have a little chip on their shoulder because I think they feel that they were in the running and did what they needed to do to put their name on that level. So it's always a good thing to have a little chip on your shoulder, and hopefully that just goes into a successful thing for us and not the other way.
And the team around those two, who are you kind of looking for? I know Jackson obviously had a big role last year as a guy who can really fill it up from the three-point line, and looking at him today, I think he could still do that for you. But beyond him, and his role too, and then what else do you have who kind of surround those guys?
Yeah, Jackson's he's solid for us. I mean, obviously he spreads the floor with his ability to shoot the three at a high level, and then hopefully he expands on that a little bit more this year. We have Braden Ring, who's our sixth man last year, the last 10 or 12 games as a freshman. He'll have an impact this year. Will Allen is our fourth senior that has gotten some minutes the last couple of years. He had some injuries last year. So those guys right there are a good solid base. And then you look at our junior class with Cooper Hess and Quincy Ferguson, Owen Hahn, are three guys that have played some varsity minutes last year. So hopefully they're going to put themselves in a position to provide a little bit more on both ends of the floor. And we have a lot of experience back, but at the same time, we only have 7 upperclassmen coming back. So there's going to be a learning curve, and obviously with the schedule we play, the conference we're in, every game is a dogfight, and you've got to be really disciplined, and you got to take care of the ball and really focus on the things that you can control, and hopefully we do a better job of that this year than we did last.
And a big sophomore class, or a good group of sophomore guys, it looks like. And we caught a little bit of your freshmen. You get a big. I know you're excited about that group. What do you think about the underclass guys you have coming up? Maybe that's not a lot of those guys are going to help you maybe right away, but looks like you got some good talent there.
Yeah, we do. I mean, there's a lot of them. I mean, like I said, we had 7 upperclassmen, and we've had close to 40 every workout in the preseason. So obviously you're looking at a bulk of those guys being freshmen and sophomores. So they're still learning. I think there's some potential in both those groups for guys to step up. I mean, we already talked about Ring being a sophomore and playing for us last year. And there's a couple other kids in that class that have the potential, as long as they get healthy and buy into what we're doing, to be able to help us at the varsity level this year. In the freshman class, they'll go through their progression, but we look forward to them and working with them the next couple of years, and hopefully they can kind of push us to another level as well.
And you were saying earlier that this is last year was your first year. You kind of went through a whole group of guys. You basically had that group since they were freshmen. Where do you kind of feel like you're at with that, as far as like just the program in general, going into your 5th year now? Just being here at Zionsville has been seems like a good fit for you. I'm assuming it is. And and what are you excited about for this year and beyond?
Yeah, I mean, I think this year again we talked about the top guys and having them for 5 years. They've really bought in and to the program and what we're trying to accomplish. And then you look down at our feeder program, and we have a lot of our numbers are great in that regard, and it's just we're just continuing trying to build off of the previous season, and losing Logan and Nick a couple years ago, last year was, you could see that they were great leaders. They understood the game, and there was that learning curve with some of those juniors that we were really counting on last year. This year they went through it, or last year they went through it. So now this year we're looking for them to step up in those roles. And we always talk about leaving a legacy. Like what are you? It's more than just the points you score and what you produce on the floor. It's what are you leaving behind for the younger kids to look up to and try to emulate. I thought we've had some classes that have done a really good job of that and really building into the younger kids. And I think Maguire and Drew in that class really fed off of like kids like Logan and Nick in that class. So hopefully that's our goal, is to just what are you leaving behind, right? It's not about the wins and losses. It's not about what you produce on the floor. It's the environment that we're putting ourselves in. Is it are you helping us get to that next level? And that's what we strive for every year, is to have that senior class be that next step. So we feel pretty good about where we're at. We can always be better in our program, K through 12. So but we our numbers are growing and kids are getting involved, and I feel like we're at a really good spot. Love this place. It's a great community, great school, great kids, family support, admin support. I mean, it's a really cool place to be at, and we're growing and we're expanding on different things athletically. So it's a fun time to be here, and hopefully we can just keep this thing going.
And I was, when you mentioned family, your dad, I caught a picture of you and him sitting next to each other with your son.
Yep.
And I was kind of sitting behind you at the Charlie Hughes, like, that's a cool picture of the three of you. And I know that's important to you to have your dad be part of this, and also your kid, because you came up with it as a coach's son. But what's it mean to have your dad and now your kids being part of this?
Yeah, it's it's kind of a surreal moment. Being in that position with him growing up. I remember going to the gym at Mount Vernon and Muncie South, Brownsburg. He just lived in the gym. I mean, and he was so busy with everything he did. I mean, the first 8 years of my life, 4 of them, he was coaching both boys and girls at the same time. So that kind of fed me into it, because that was the only time I got to see him. He was practicing so much. So, just hopefully my kids, just want to get them that exposure. Being at the games, being around the team. That's the beauty of high school kids, is they don't understand the impact they have on the youth, not only in the program but for my kids. And that's what we want to surround our program with, is our great kids. I mean, my kids are 4 and 2, and they go home in the kitchen on the basketball goal, and they're emulating Drew and Maguire. Like, Drew got hurt one game, and now my kids fall and say their ankle hurts because of Drew. So it's those little impacts that these kids still have no clue what kids are watching, but they watch everything, and that's what makes it fun for me is to be able to see my kids enjoy being around them and being good role models in that sense.
Absolutely. Well, thanks again, J.R. Howell from Zionsville, and good luck this new bleachers at Zionsville too. They look nice. They're the wooden, not the plastic, so it looks nice in here.
Yeah, just upgrading little by little.
Great. Well, thanks. Good luck this year.
Yeah, thank you.